Hey Dragonlings, so this week's vlog, if you haven't noticed, is a little shorter than some of mine have been recently, and the reason for that is because on the last day of April, April 30th, we found out some news from the girls at school that kind of hit a little hard, and I basically it's not that I stopped filming completely, it's just that I didn't film as much, and I just didn't care as much. So, unfortunately that happened, and I will not go into detail into this, just know that it deals with the loss of a friend, and that's as much as I want to say about it for right now. So yeah, this week I was working on various things with stories. I don't even know at this point what I go over in this vlog. You'll know before I know, because I'm going to edit this after I film this clip. So I just know that when I dropped all the clips into my movie editing program, my video editing program, it was less than 20 minutes long. So yeah, once I finish this clip up, it's going to be just over 20 minutes before I start editing, I guess. So anyways, enjoy, and I hope you guys have a good week. She do be a partial loaf. She is half on, half off the box. I are loaf cat that aren't loaf cat. Hi, loaf cat. You look so weird. She's like, what do you want, mortal? Oh, he's Flash. Do I even want to know? Oh, there's our porcupine friend. He's bald. You can't see him as well as I can. This sucks. My camera sucks. I'm so sorry. Racing along the river edge. He's hiding from me. Hi. Hi there. My, what big ears you've got. She's like, I don't give two fucks about you. Fuck off. Hey Dragonlings, so this week following the 12-hour marathon, what I wanted to work on is Changeling. This is I thought it was a short story, and apparently it is, but it's not. It's a short story by what I consider short stories. So if you've been around my channel for a while, I realized that there are like other smaller classifications for various things, but I only go by the major three: short story, novella, and novel. And the way I picture short stories is anything 20k or less, and then novella is 20k to 50k, and then anything 50k plus is a novel. That's just the easiest way for my brain to classify things, so that's the way I've been doing it. And by those classifications, this is a short story, but in my head, I was like, this is only like 5,000, 6,000 words long. Changeling is 15,000 words long. I don't remember where I got the idea that it was shorter, but apparently I was wrong. So I am working on going back through it. This was originally published in an anthology called Myths Untold, and what I'm currently doing is going back through it, editing it, and stuff like that, so that I can polish it up and get ready for publication on its own. I have not decided if I want to write more in the world. It's definitely open to more stories, whether with the same characters or different characters. Probably not. I think I like it as a standalone by itself. It is a Fae MM retelling, or not retelling. I don't know where I got the word retelling from. It's an MM Fae sickly sweet romance. And I don't even remember what time period I said it in, because the way I've been going through it, and the way some things have been described, these people are like dirt poor, living on a dirt floor house. And I'm like, I knew it wasn't set in modern times, but I'm like, what time period did I set this in? So I've got to figure that out, make sure all my historical references are correct and stuff. Plus, I think I need to lay out where it takes place a little bit better because, again, I don't remember where it takes place. I am currently I've been editing it as I like read through it, but I think what I needed to do was like just read through it without editing. Just to get like a handle on the story itself. And I think that's what I'm going to start doing. I'm going to stop where I am editing wise and just read through it and see what it is. But the plan is to polish it up so it's ready for a publication of next year. And the reason I'm doing next year instead of this year is so that I can basically do rapid release of a bunch of different stories next year starting in April, from like April to October. That is the plan. But for the most part, because this one was already published in the past, it shouldn't be that hard to clean it up. I'm not adding anything. I might clean up sentences here and there, but it should be fairly simple to go through. We'll see. So yeah, that's what I'm working on this week, is just doing that and rounding that up. And then hopefully starting next week, actually I want to finish this, if I can, I want to finish this by the end of this week. I was going to say May 1st, but today's the 30th. I'm like, there's no way I'm going to finish this today. Maybe if I push real hard, but I don't want to do that. So, excuse me. So starting next week, I want to have completed this so that I can move back onto a box short and finish a box short. And basically that's why I'm doing things, is I'm going to be hopping around different short stories one a week and doing what I can to get them ready for various things. So like this week I'm working on Changeling. Next week I'll work on a buck short, and then I'll probably do buck short 2 weeks in a row, and then I'll go back to Presumed Dead so I can polish that up and send it out to beta readers. So that is the plan. Alright, I'm going to let you guys go for now so I can get back to work. If I finish up Changeling early this week, one of the things I might do is go back through all the files that I've been like getting onto this computer, and I might go through and see if there's any more that are like of a longer substance, 10K to 20K, and see about polishing them up and possibly publishing them as well if they're good enough stories. The problem is a lot of my earlier stories before 2020 were definitely shorter pieces, like definitely closer to the flash fiction and other microfiction types of stories. Like they were all less than 1,000 words. I think my longest story was about 3,000, but I thought Changeling was shorter too, so maybe I'm wrong. So I'm definitely going to go through all the stories to see what I've got and what I can work with, to see if there's any others I want to do the same thing with that I'm doing with Changeling and publish it by itself. Because the plan is to publish the hold on, let me grab my notebook. I made a tentative publishing schedule. I'm not necessarily sticking with it 100%, but the way I've got it working is I'm going to be publishing Changeling, a buck short, and then the 7 short stories in the Sultry Solstices series. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then I have my nonfiction writing prompt book, and then I have a novel that I would like to publish, but that novel is only going to happen if I can actually get it ready to go. I don't know if I'll be able to do that. We will see. I have low doubts. But yeah, I'm going to go ahead and look through all my files and see if I've got another story that's on the longer side that I feel like is worth publishing by itself. I've also got 1, maybe 2 other short stories that I need to go through. The one I do know about, I have started going through it. It needs a complete overhaul. There's some things that I like about it, but for the most part I'm going to be redoing it, because there was a collection I wanted to put together called Dragons Among Us that contained the 2 short stories that I originally wrote for the Quarantined After anthology, one of which was finalized and accepted and it was like ready to go. The other one was the one I wrote prior to writing that one when I got that story idea. I've talked about that before in another vlog, but essentially what it came down to was I started one story, I finished it, and then I got an idea for another one, and that's the one I ended up submitting, because I could only submit one of the 2. So I've got both those stories. The one I know needs an overall and a major edit, because I want them all to be about the same length. And then I know I've got some other short stories in my files that can be put into that anthology as well, that I want to look over and see whether or not they need like updating and rewriting as well. Because I know my writing style has changed, and with these short stories, I want to bring them up to par with my current writing style if I'm going to use them. So that is the plan I think I'm going to do if I finish up Changeling before the end of this week. But we'll see what happens. It is Wednesday. I've got 3 more days to finish up Changeling. If I don't finish Changeling, I will shift that to next week as well, and I'll just shift my priorities a little bit. But I'm trying my hardest to finish up Changeling this week, because I think with how short it is and the fact that it was published in the past and I'm working with that finalized published version of it, I don't think it'll take me too long to update it to what the standards that I have now to get it ready for publication. And then I can move on to the next project. And I'm still hopeful that I can finish a Pug short and a couple, the rest of the Sultry Solstices short stories before the end of the year. Like, that's my goal, is to finish all 7 more of those stories that are left. So that's what I'm working with. I've got plans. I just need to like narrow my focus and like execute them now, basically, is what it comes down to. And that's what I'm slowly working towards. We're getting there. It's just taking me a bit. So I'm about to go to bed because I'm really tired. It's been a long weekend, but I wanted to give a quick writing update. I'll give like a personal update probably next week, because I can't right now. I cannot handle it. Some stuff happened yesterday that's really heavy, and I just can't right now. I need more time. And it's not even just me that needs more time. The rest of my family needs more time. Had a couple things happen yesterday that were just hit home. So that's fun. But anyways, writing. I read through all of Changeling. I just stopped editing and I just started reading, and my writing style has changed. So the next thing, what I want to do is I actually want to print out a copy of Changeling on paper and read it that way and take notes. Because the next thing I need to decide is whether I'm just going to edit it as is or rewrite it to update it with my current style. I would like to edit it as is. That would be quicker. But the other part of me is like, I kind of want to update it with my current style. I don't know. I'll have to decide that. So that's the next thing I have to figure out. And then I added a couple more lines onto that chart that I showed you guys on the last vlog with my short story list, and I've added some things like word counts, a list of character names and stuff like that, and I'm going through each of the stories now and marking on that chart whether they've been completed, what the word count is, if it has been completed. If it hasn't been completed, I'm not putting a word count because obviously it won't necessarily be correct. And then I'm doing the list of character names because I try not to use the same character names, and already I've discovered that in some of the short stories that I had the same character names for different characters and different stories in unrelated worlds. So it's one thing if it's like a universal world, universal series kind of thing. Not so much if they're separate short stories. So that's what I'm doing now, is going through and adding stuff to that chart. But anyways, I am tired. I'll come back on. I'll come back on and do more of an update later, but that's all you get from me right now. I'm gonna go to bed. Night night. Just a quick check-in. This project is gonna take so much longer than I thought it would. So what I'm doing is I am going through the list of short stories. I'm going through all of my short stories, and I'm doing 2 things. I've updated my chart with word count and character names. And what I am doing is weird. What I'm doing is I am going through all of the short stories and I am reading through it. Oh, yeah, I'm reading through it. I am getting the total word count. I am marking whether or not the story is completed, and then I'm writing down the list of character names in this chart. And it's taking forever. Reading back through these stories is taking forever. I'm not making any corrections. So like if it was a corrupted file where words have been repeated, because most of my corrupted files, that's exactly what's happened, is it's gotten to a certain point in the story and then it's recopied the beginning portions or other portions of the story until it continues on. Almost like, you know when you copy and paste something but you accidentally click in the wrong place and you paste what you're trying to copy in the middle of something else? It's that. That's exactly what it is. Or there'll be lines where like it starts to write a word, cuts off the word and puts it on a new line in the middle of a sentence kind of thing. There's a lot of that kind of stuff in all these corrupted files. So I'm not worried about those. Literally all I'm doing right now is going through, getting the word count as it stands right now, and marking whether the story is complete or not. And a lot of the ones that aren't complete so far are ones that were corrupted and the rest of the file is just gone. So that is what I'm starting with. When I get finished with this, I'm on story number 53 of 221. When I get finished with this, I will eventually go back through, and especially like with the ones that aren't complete, I am going to go back through and decide whether or not I want to complete those, or if I'm going to end up scrapping those story ideas. And if it's one that I'm going to keep, I need to go ahead and finish writing it. And I need to go ahead and edit and update the stories so that it matches my current writing style, I think. And then if I'm not going to keep it, I'm going to delete it from my list. I'm going to keep those words because I could use those, or I'm not going to keep the words exactly. What I think I'm going to do with those stories that I don't want to keep is depending on the story, because some of the stories I'm finding were like writing practices from when I was in a writing club in high school. So like those stories, I could care less if I keep them or not. They were literally writing practice. We were given, everyone in the class came up with like a rule to add into the short story, so we would all be writing a short story with these specific parameters. And a lot of those stories, like, I don't care if I keep them or not. I don't care. Because they were literally just writing practice during the club meetings and stuff. Like, you know, a morning warm-up kind of thing where we took the first 15 minutes of the club and trying to open my monster and it's not working. Where we took the first 15 minutes of the club meeting and wrote basically like a journal entry. So yeah, that's what I'm doing now. And I think with the stories that I don't want to keep, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through and make like a rough outline of things that happened, because my writing has changed so much over the years that I do not care if I keep the specific sentences, but there's some story ideas that I think I do want to keep that I can either use for one of two things. I can either keep them as writing prompt ideas for future writing prompt books, because when I finish this writing prompt book I'm currently working on, I would like to continue writing more writing prompt books. So I can keep it for that. Or I can keep those ideas to use in later stories of my own, ones that I prefer to keep. So that is where I currently stand as far as these short stories go. With Changeling, I have completely read through Changeling. I have to decide if I'm just going to edit it as is and put it out as is, or if I'm going to rewrite it and update it to my current writing style. I've got to make some decisions with that. My main thing was to finish reading through it and see what I wanted to. I was originally wanting to like edit it as is, but as I'm reading through it, I'm like, my writing style has changed so much that I now am rethinking what I want to do with it. So I've got time. I can take my time with designing that. And in the meantime, I'm doing this project with the short stories and getting word counts and character names. And I'm getting character names for multiple different reasons, because like there's some short stories I wrote where I didn't realize I used the same names of like the characters 3 or 4 times within different stories, and they're not interconnected stories. They're just random stories. And I'm like one was contemporary, one was fantasy, and one was like urban fantasy. And the fantasy took place in like another world kind of thing. So I'm like, how did I manage that? Guess there's some names I just like. So, and the funny thing is, the names that are repeated are not names that I generally like, and that's why it surprises me. I'm like, maybe I just picked random names and that's what happened. I don't know. So I'm gonna go ahead and get back to work. And it's just, this is taking forever because I am reading through each story. And a lot of my older writing, I'm like, I don't love this. Like, I don't What? I don't love it at all. I don't even like it. I'm like, ugh. So it feels like pulling teeth. You ever read your writing and it's not even like, especially with these short stories, like some of them are so short that I'm like, what was the point of even writing this? Like, where was my brain going with this? Because I don't fucking know. Where did this story idea come from? Because I don't know. And then some of them I'm reading, I'm like, oh, this was actually really good. How come I have no memory of this story? It's been a roller coaster. All right, I'm going to go get ahead and get back to work. So I wanted to film this clip to wrap up this week. On the 30th of April, the girls found out that one of their classmates passed away. And not to go into too much detail and anything like that, it was not an accident. They did find out that it was a friend of both the girls, and they found out that it was suicide. And I'm not going to go into details about what happened. Just know that I got a call right when I was actually getting ready to go to bed and sleep for the day. So Wednesday was fun because I didn't get any sleep. But I got a call from my husband saying that he was bringing our youngest home because the kids had the option of coming home or staying at school. And while my youngest came home, whereas my oldest stayed at school, she was staying so that she could comfort some of her friends who were also close to this person. And my youngest came home, and we basically just stayed curled up in my bed all afternoon and watched movies. And that was our day, is we watched movies and stayed curled up while she dealt with her grief. And yeah. So that's why this vlog is shorter. And I didn't film a lot after that day. I did film, just not as much as I usually do. And then Sunday, yesterday, we finished up our Star Wars marathon. It was Star Wars Day, so happy Star Wars Day. But we started our movie marathon in March with the original trilogy and then the prequel trilogy, and then yesterday we watched the last three, which is the sequel trilogy. So we have now completed our 9-movie marathon of Star Wars, and we're going to slowly work our way through all the rest of the Star Wars universe with the various movies and TV shows. So more to come on that soon. If you didn't know, I am actually a huge Star Wars fan of, like, I grew up from the time I was like 7 with the original Star Wars trilogy. So like I remember watching them on VHS, and I will fight anyone with this. Han shot first. I will always believe that, even if they've changed it. Like the rendition that my husband watched growing up, which he didn't watch it until much later. He watched it after it came out on DVD when they changed it, and Greedo shot first, whereas I grew up with the VHS where Han shot first. And now watching the Disney version, they shoot at the same time. They have changed it again. So there's multiple different versions of who shot first. And I'm of the category, whether or not you agree with me, I will always believe this, that Han shot first. So, I am a huge Star Wars fan of the movies, and I know that the sequel trilogy gets a lot of hate, and I know the prequel trilogy gets a lot of hate, but honestly, I still thoroughly enjoy the entire franchise as far as those go. I have not seen anything else beyond those 9. I've seen a couple episodes of Mandalorian, that would be a lie. But I haven't seen any of the outside movies beyond those 9. I haven't seen any of the shows except a couple episodes of Mandalorian, which I know there's like 3 or 4 seasons now. I've lost count. I think that one is still going. So, yeah. But yeah, it was really cool to introduce the girls and to see the shock of their faces when they found out that Vader was Luke's father, and then again when they found out who Rey was related to. And if you haven't seen the sequel trilogy, I won't spoil that for you, but when they found out who Rey was related to. And I would love to do in the future some discussion videos where we talk about the movies, because like they get a lot of hate. And now that I've seen the original trilogy for the upteenth million time, and I've seen the prequel trilogy and the sequel trilogy for like, I think this is only the second time I've actually watched them all the way through. Having watched them all together like that, I'm like, oh, there's some things that I'm like, oh, that actually, the more I think about it, I'm like, that was beautifully put. And it's just, you didn't it didn't click the first time. So, anyways, now I've got to find some Star Wars books to read because I haven't read any of them. I read one graphic novel many, many years ago. It was dealing with the Old Republic, and I don't remember anything about it other than that. So, that's eventually down the line. But anyways, that is everything we did this week. I did some writing related things. I don't remember exactly what I've done. I think what I was doing was going through my list of short stories and getting word counts and marking on my chart whether or not it was complete, and then writing the character names. I think that's what I was working on last. I don't even remember. It's been a couple days. So, hopefully I've talked to you guys about it. Hopefully maybe I've even shown you what I was doing. I don't know. You guys will know before me. But I just want to go ahead and wrap this up, and I will see you guys all in next week's vlog. So, bye, Dragonlings.